Welcome back to L&B Outdoors. Let's troubleshoot this Belarus 250 fuel injection pump. We're having a no fuel issue. Y'all stay tuned. Alright, that's a few days later. Able to get back out here and kind of tinker with this, and I pulled the side cover off of the fuel injection pump, and there was a few things. This little arm sticking right in here, it didn't want to come all the way down, so I messed with some of that. I want to say that this is supposed to have oil in it, and it didn't have oil in it, so we'll have to put some oil back in it. But I'm gonna get this side cover put back on here in a minute and try it again. But I can spin it over now, and I can start getting some fuel spitting out of these injector lines here. So we're gonna get the cover back on. Actually, I'm gonna go get some brake clean and probably clean some of this up. We'll put some fresh oil back on it in a little bit, and then we'll have to continue priming the system. Okay, we got the cap back on. Got our lines hooked back up, and we got our lines loose on the injectors over here. We're gonna try to spin it over a little bit, see if we can't get some fuel up to them injectors. Maybe this thing will crank up here in a little bit and run on its own. Let's see if we can get some fuel out of these lines now. Here we go. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
This thing ain't far from running now, boys. Let me get these tightened up. And yeah, takes two hands. I'll be back. Well, welcome to Florida. You never know when it's going to rain. Sun's still out. Maybe this won't last long. Just enough to get my tools wet. Tell you what, I think we're ready to see this thing fire off. Fingers crossed. And I'm gonna bump the throttle back just a little. See what happens. Well, that's a little better. Try it again. Give it more throttle and see what happens. Yes, sir. Oh, come on now. Work with me here. Well, it seems like it only wants to run just almost full throttle, like 3/4 throttle. So I'm gonna try to run it some more. See if we can't make sure we get all the air bled out of the system. And maybe that injection pump will come around. Let's see. Well, we can't get nothing done right now. We'll be back when it gets done raining. Well, it has been several days since I've been able to work on this. I have been sick. I guess the flu bug, or what do they call it, bronchitis, hit me. So I haven't been able to tinker with this too much, but I'm getting back out here today. You know, we got it running, but it's not running right. So on your throttle, it would run at full throttle, but then it'll want to fade out and die out. I can back this off about 1/4, and it would run, fade out, stay running barely, and then come back and run again. It's like fading in and out. So that started telling me we need to start looking at our fuel systems, and that's what it did. Started off with everything, made sure we had fuel in it, verified that the cap vent hole is clear and clean, because if that clogs up, it can cause a vacuum in your fuel tank, which can starve it for fuel. Because that's what it's seeming like. It seems like it's starving for fuel as it runs great and then dies off. So we got into that. That's fine. And then we come around to this side. Never mind the fuel injection pump here, or the injector pump, little pump there. I'll get to that in a minute. And we verified all of our lines, our hoses, everything was fine. Cleaned our pre-filter in here, checked our filter housings again, and when I pulled them out completely, they were bent, distorted, and not working the way I think they should. That one was really all bent up. So I took them out of play and just put these back. So there's no filters in these, just fuel. The fuel's clean. I took the poppets out of the top side of this injection pump below. There's like little springs and valves. I took them out and cleaned them, and that's kind of where I stopped at when I started getting sick. And then right before that, I come in and I put a inline pump. All this is just a little clickety-clack pump, 12 volt. So I put it in line to see if we had a lift pump problem. And I got it run for a little bit, and then, you know, life happens. So we're back on it. I want to hook all this back up. I want to continue testing it, because if we can't get this running, that's going to tell me that there's something wrong with the injection pump. And that would mean this injection pump would have to come off, either be rebuilt or buy a brand new one. And I don't know if the owner wants to do that or not. He wants to get the tractor back running, but he's not wanting to spend the arm and the leg. You know how it's hard to find parts for these Belarus. Anyway, so that's kind of where we're up. You're caught up to speed. That's where we're at. Now we're on a cold start series here, because I have not started this in days. So I'm going to finish hooking the battery up, and let's see if we can get this to pop off and run again, and maybe you can see what I'm talking about. All right, finally got the battery hooked up. I'm going to run my throttle all the way forward and then back just a little. See what happens. Now it ain't like it's wanting to do nothing. Give it a shot of ether and see what happens. I did rig up a little push button starter for right now. Well, now you see what I'm talking about. It's not vent. A lot of fuel's getting down. It wants to just run and then kind of surge, almost die, and then it'll come back. And that's when I showed you, that's with the 3/4 throttle. Man, I hate it, but I'm really going to be pinpointing this injection pump. But I'm going to keep tinkering, see what I can find out. All right, so we took the little electric pump off, tied it back into all original, going into the lift pump. It did seem to run a little better with that electric pump. It didn't die out near as quick, so I'm just wondering if this lift pump is bad. So I'm gonna hook it all back original, tighten everything up, and we'll give it a try and see what it does from there. Make sure I tighten this fitting back up. That's tightened back up. Hose clamps are tight. Well, let's just kind of see what happens. I'm gonna leave the throttle setting where it was at. Here we go. Yeah, I think we've got pump issues. I haven't looked up to see if, I know you can buy this pump, the lift pump portion separate. I'm just wondering if there's like a rebuild kit, or if it's just a set of O-rings. Can I go in there and just rebuild it myself? So I think what I'm gonna do is tear this pump off and just see what we can see. Hopefully we can see something. There is potential here, and I really want to see this thing run right and function. So let me get started on this and see what we can handle here. All right, the pump is off. That's what it looks like. Did have some oil come out. That's probably where you add the oil. Where I added oil was here. All this is supposed to be like an oil cavity. It's got a flat gasket on this flange. Here's the pump. And it does have a roller plunger. I'm not seeing anything just out of the ordinary right now, but I am going to tear it apart. See if we can see anything. And possibly get a new O-ring for this primer bulb plunger. And just see what all entails. Well, that's what your pump looks like. Alright, so that's your roller side. We took this out. You had a plunger, like a rod, and a springing cap. That cap came off of this side, and when I pulled this out, y'all see that black on there? Maybe I can get a little closer, if the camera will focus. That supposed to be like a plastic valve or whatever, but that was a piece of chunk of debris sitting on that, so I know that couldn't seal properly. Let's see if there's anything in this other one. Supposed to have a brass washer. That's still in there, so we're going to leave it alone. Let's see what this valve looks like. And it doesn't have any debris on it. Let's see what inside these bores look like. So yeah, I'm going to pull this plunger apart here, and pretty sure there's like an O-ring. I'm going to take that apart. I'm going to brake clean everything, and I'm going to slap it back together and just see if that helps. I don't know. One can only hope though, right? We'll see. Okay. I believe we're finally getting somewhere. Well, let me just show you. Contact. Now the throttle, it is a little weird because you got so much travel, but if you go below where it's sitting at right now, it'll start getting into the low idle and will fade out. So you don't really have much throttling. You take it all the way up, it goes on up. You can leave that at a kind of a low idle like this, and don't forget you got a foot throttle on this. I'm gonna shut her down. So yes, sir. Do believe we've got it figured out. There's a few fuel leaks here and there, but I guess it was the little poppets in the lift pump. Has some debris in there. Cleaned all that out, put it all back, and yeah, she runs. It's got a few little dribble leaks. I'm hoping they'll seal themselves. If not, he may have to get him some brass washers, replace some of them washers, but he's gonna need some filters. He's gonna need some of them brass washers for these lines. It wouldn't hurt to replace all the rubber lines. And man, this thing just needs to be ran. It does not need to set up. Man, that's exciting, y'all. What? All right, man, that is awesome. I love to get something back running. It's just a joy to me. So to add to that list of things he's going to need, he's going to need a battery. He's going to need him some battery cables, some heavy duty battery cables. And then it's just little nitnoid stuff from that point. And then, man, just get on it and run it. It needs to be ran. It does not need to sit up. But I think this is pretty awesome. Now I think it's time to do a little test drive. All right, I do want to see if it has live PTO. Well, I guess the easiest way to do that is just crank it up and put the PTO on. And see if I can clutch it all the way in, all the way down. And then see if these 3 points lift. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, we got it back running. I am tickled. I'm tickled for the guy. I know there's a lot of sentimental value with this tractor because it was his dad's, and I'm just stoked that I was able to get it running for him. So yeah, he's going to have a few things he's going to tinker with. I'm going to check with him to see what all he wants me to do, if he wants me to get the cables or he wants to get the cables. But we're going to get it finished on up for him and get it sent on its way back to him. But listen, I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. We'll see y'all in the next video.